Hello, friends. Happy Friday. We are going to read chapter 8 called Sleep in Pirates Don't Wear Pink Sunglasses of the Adventures of the Bailey School Kids series today. So before we go ahead and do that, we are going to say our Kids on Course motto to get our brains ready to listen and learn and then hopefully answer our questions at the end. So when you're ready, repeat after me, and you can say this quietly in your mind, or you can yell it out loud because it's Friday. I am smart. I believe in myself. I am a great kid. I have courage. I deserve to learn. Today is going to be awesome! And of course it is because it's Friday and that means we have the weekend to enjoy. So before we start, let's go ahead and go over our questions from Chapter 7. And Chapter 7 was kind of short, so we only have 2 questions. Question 1 is, why does Long-Tongued Jack keep bothering Eddie? And Long-Tongued Jack kept bothering Eddie because he knows that Eddie has Captain Teach's map. Because remember, they were in Captain Teach's cabin in Chapter 6. And then question number 2 is, why does Captain Teach look at the stars? And Captain Teach said that the stars direct pirates on their travels. So pirates look at the stars all the time to help them figure out where they're going. Before I start reading, I'm going to give you our questions for Chapter 8 so that you can be listening carefully for those answers and then be thinking about those questions. Question 1. Who were Howie and Eddie running from? Question 2. Where do they think the treasure is buried? And question 3 goes along with question 2. Why do they think that it's buried there? All right, we can go ahead and get started with Chapter 8 called Sleep. Did you see the way Teach looked at us? Melody whispered to Eddie as they walked toward their cabins. It was late and the tall trees were swaying in the night breeze. What do you mean? Eddie asked. Teach knows we have the map, Liza said. Shh, Eddie sputtered. Why don't you just announce it to the whole world? Long-Tongued Jack already did, Howie said. You guys worry too much, Eddie told them. Tomorrow morning before breakfast, we'll have a look around. Then we'll know for sure there isn't any treasure. See you tomorrow, Melody said as she and Liza went into the girls' cabin. Inside the boys' cabin, Eddie tossed and turned all night long. Once he was sure he heard a wolf howling. Finally, when the first speck of sunlight popped through the dusty window, Eddie slugged Howie in the arm. Get up, he whispered. Leave me alone, Howie mumbled. It's still dark. The sun is shining. Do you want to go waste all day sleeping? I thought you wanted to find out about the pirate's treasure. Howie moaned and pulled the covers over his head. Eddie shook Howie and then looked out the window. In the early morning light, he saw a figure moving toward their cabin. The figure had a bird on his shoulder. Howie, let's go. Teach is coming for us. Eddie threw the blankets off his friend. Howie took a quick peek out the window and gulped. What do we do? Hurry, grab your clothes. Let's try the back window. Eddie ran to the back of the cabin and threw open the squeaky window. Sleepy kids from around the room complained about the noise and snuggled deeper into their covers. None of them noticed as Eddie and Howie slipped out the window. The boys tiptoed away from their cabin and stopped behind the girls' cabin. Then Eddie felt a cold hand on his shoulder. Eddie tackled the person behind him. It wasn't until they were both on the ground that he noticed the jet black pigtails. Ouch! Melody hissed. I think you bruised my arm. Eddie jumped up and brushed off the seat of his pants. What are you doing here? He whispered to Melody. Melody glared up at Eddie. We saw Teach heading for the boys' cabin and thought you might need help. What are you doing here? And we have a picture really quick. And so in this picture, you can see that the boys are climbing out of the boys' cabin window, and that's the shadow that they're talking about. So it does actually look a lot like Captain Teach and Long-Tongued Jack. I would understand why they're scared. Liza giggled from the shadows of a large hemlock tree. It looked like they were peeking in the girls' cabin. Eddie's face turned red. We were not. We were hiding from Teach. Howie helps Melody up. Eddie's right. We'd better get out of here before Teach finds us. I'm not scared of that mangy sea mongrel, Eddie snapped. You sure sounded scared when you saw him coming to the cabin, Howie said. And you jumped like a fish out of water when I touched you, Melody added. I don't like surprises, Eddie said, except for the kind in a treasure chest. That's what I'm going to hunt for. Eddie marched on the trail leading to the Red River. He didn't bother to look behind him. He knew his three friends would follow. Eddie stopped on the banks of the river and pulled out the sunglasses case. He was smoothing the wrinkles from the old map when Melody, Liza, and Howie stopped beside him. I don't think we were followed, Howie whispered. Liza shivered. Teacher could come after us at any minute. Eddie laughed. He won't have a chance. Coach Ellison will see to it that Teach is rowing down the river with the rest of the kids. That gives us plenty of time to look for this make-believe treasure. Melody pointed to the map. It'll be impossible to find the treasure. There's no X to mark the spot. The treasure hunters silently examined the map for several minutes. Then Liza sighed. Molly the Red must have liked these beautiful trees too. She even drew some on her map. Only those droopy trees are on that little island, Eddie pointed. Howie snapped his finger. Maybe Molly didn't use an X to show where she hid the treasure. Eddie rolled his eyes. All pirates use an X. Not unless they drew trees instead, Melody said slowly and pointed. One tree has something on it. So you can see there is the map, and they are pointing to those droopy trees that they were just talking about, and one of them has writing on it. Liza's eyes got big. Do you mean Molly buried her treasure under those trees? Exactly, Howie told them. What kind of pirate makes their map so hard to figure out? Eddie snapped. A smart one, Melody said. Wait, I hear Coach Ellison calling us for breakfast, Howie said. Liza shivered. We'd better get back. I don't want Teach to come looking for us. Howie nodded. And now we have to be just as smart as Molly the Red, or we'll end up as Teach's fish bait. Then you'd better leave this up to me, Eddie bragged, because I have a plan. That ends chapter 8 for us, and this story is so good. I always want to read more chapters, but I will save chapter 9 for Monday. Before we go, I'm going to remind you of our questions for today, and then you guys can enjoy your whole weekend. So, question 1. Who were Howie and Eddie running from? Question 2. Where do they think the treasure is buried? And question 3 goes with question 2. Why do they think the treasure was buried there? That is all I have for you guys. Enjoy your weekend, and I will have another chapter for you on Monday. Bye, everybody.